Hey, I'm Gareth from Bar Cameras, and today we're looking back at the year that was. This year, 2018. We're doing 2018 in review. I think it's fair to say that a lot has happened this year in terms of photography. The full-frame mirrorless camera market has been exploding with some awesome new stuff, but there's also been really cool APS-C mirrorless cameras, Micro Four Thirds mirrorless cameras, we've had gimbals, we've had drones, we've had compact cameras, lenses. I think it's fair to say it was a big year. So let's kick things off with the full-frame mirrorless cameras of 2018 because, well, it was one of the more exciting trends of the year. So early in the year, we had the Sony a7 III released. I loved it. A lot of people loved it. It was very well received, and it still is a fantastic all-round camera. It's great for photographers, it's great for videographers alike. I use it a lot for video because of its great video specs and it's just general fantasticness. That's definitely a word. It is just a great all-rounder. I'll make sure to link our review down in the description so you can check that out for yourself. But that was definitely not the only full-frame mirrorless camera to come out this year. No, not at all. In fact, Nikon and Canon both announced not just new full-frame mirrorless cameras, but new mounts for them as well. So we had Nikon coming out with the new Z6 and Z7, and they were going to be sporting the Z mount for their lenses as well. That's all very exciting. And actually, outside of the slight controversy with the one card slot, I say slight, some people perhaps more aggrieved than others. But outside of that, we really loved the cameras. You can check out our review of the Z7 down below in the description as well. But actually, really nice cameras for photo and video as well. And similarly, the Canon EOS R was sporting the new RF mount with some very exciting lenses being released alongside the camera. Now, we got a chance to test out this camera at the launch event and out in the wild as well. And both times, we were particularly impressed by how well it handled low light situations. We were also very impressed by the selection of RF lenses that were released alongside the EOS R. In particular, the 50mm f1.2 is a lovely, lovely lens to use, especially if you like your bokeh served creamy and delicious. But we'll also have a chance to check out the new 28 to 70mm f2 zoom really soon, which is really exciting. So you keep your eyes locked to Bar Cameras for a review on that coming up. So that's three very exciting full-frame mirrorless cameras that released this year, but that's still not quite it, because at Photokina, Panasonic didn't want to be left out, so they announced the S1 and the S1R. Now they're not out yet, but they look really exciting. The specs look great. They look like they're going to be great for photography and videography alike, so you can see a bit of a trend going on here. But honestly, I cannot wait to get my hands on these cameras. I really want to test them out. They look very, very exciting. And if they're as good as they look, it's going to be something special. But it wasn't just about the full frame mirrorless cameras this year. Sure, they dominated the headlines a lot of the time when they were coming out, but there were some amazing APS-C and Micro Four Thirds mirrorless cameras that came out this year as well. So for videographers, the start of the year brought the Panasonic GH5S, a really, really good camera, especially for video. We had the Fujifilm X-H1, which is the flagship X series camera. It came out with some great specs, including image stabilization, which works really well, and it's a particularly good camera for video again. We had the Canon M50, a little mirrorless camera, which works really well for vlogging and things like that. It shoots 4K and it doesn't break the bank at all. We had the Panasonic GX9, which is a lovely little camera with some great built-in features at a great price as well. And of course, we had the Fujifilm X-T3, a very exciting camera. I was very excited when I got to have a bit of a play with that one. Fujifilm have really managed to add in a lot of great features to this camera. In particular, they have dramatically increased the video capabilities. It works fantastically as a video camera, but it is just a fantastic all-round camera. I'll make sure all of the reviews are down in the description for all of these as well. But what about compact cameras? Some of you might be asking. Well, we did have some great compact cameras come out this year. We had the Sony RX100 Mark VI, we had the Panasonic LX100 Mark II, both lovely compact cameras. The Sony in particular has a great zoom range, 24 to 200mm, and the Panasonic had a nice fast aperture, f1.7 to f2.8. Both would make great travel companions or just an everyday camera. Reviews down in the description as before. But we also got a new action camera in the form of the GoPro Hero 7. Now we got to try out the black model, which is the top of the range one. And it's great. GoPro have really actually outdone themselves with this one. So if you're into shooting with action cameras, if you're into shooting that kind of stuff, the Hero 7 is actually worth a look at. It has some great improvements, such as the hyper smooth stabilization, which is incredible. It is actually slightly ridiculous how good it is and how well it works. The footage can come out incredibly smooth, not crazy shaky. It is incredibly smooth. It is really worth checking out for yourself because it really does work very well. So if you're looking at getting an action camera, or if you've got an old one and you need to upgrade, the Hero 7 is definitely worth looking at. Review down there as well. Now, speaking of stabilization, we had some really great gimbals come out this year as well. So we had the DJI Osmo Mobile 2, for those of you who like to shoot with your mobile phone, and of course, the DJI Ronin S, which is a lovely gimbal. Now, I actually use this with the Canon 1DX Mark II, so I know it can take a serious amount of weight on it, but it works so well. The old Ronin M, the big one with the two handles, that was a really great gimbal, but it was quite big, whereas the Ronin S, really great gimbal, but quite a lot smaller, very easy to set up. It's got its own little tripod at the bottom, so you can actually just stand it down, which is a massive, I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but that's a huge advantage when you're out and you don't want to be carrying it around and you don't know where to put it down. You can actually just put it on the ground with a little tripod feet now. Big plus. Really liked using that. For any budding filmmakers out there or videographers, this is really a great tool to have to be able to get those smooth shots. Really liked that one. We also had the Zhone Crane 3, or Zhone Crane 3. I don't know exactly if that's how it's actually pronounced. I looked it up before shooting the video. I actually put a decent amount of time into trying to find out 100%. I think it's Zhone. Not 100% sure. Please forgive me if it's wrong. But I also haven't had hands-on time with it either, so I can't tell you exactly how it is, but it's definitely worth a mention here. We also had a couple of new entries into the drone space, most notably, of course, the DJI Mavic 2, which comes in the Pro and the Zoom varieties. Now, both of these are really great drones. If you've never flown a drone before and you were to go for the Mavic 2, the first thing you would notice about it is just how awesome they are. They are so easy to use, easy to fly, and above all else, they're a lot of fun to use. They're a lot of fun to fly about, and you can get some great results. They've got loads of built-in precautions to them, but the user interface, the usability is great. Everything is really great about the whole experience of flying it and shooting with it. You know exactly where the drone is at all times. Obviously, you should be able to see it, but on the screen, you've got details about where everything is. It's a fantastic experience. And if it's your first foray into using drones, the Mavic 2 is a really good option. We also had some particularly exciting new lenses this year, far too many to mention them all in this video. However, obviously there was the new Nikon Z mount, there was the new Canon RF mount, as we mentioned earlier on, but there were also some great lenses from Sigma, Samyang, Sony. Pretty much all the manufacturers brought out some nice new lenses. In particular, one that stands out to me was the Zeiss Batis 40mm f2. That was a great lens. I had a great time shooting with that. It was one of my favorite ones that I shot with this year. I've singled that out in particular because of how much of a good time I had shooting with it, but there were some really good lenses from pretty much everyone this year. So 2018, it's been pretty busy. It's been pretty busy. I think it's a big year. I think it's been a big year for photography. Seems like a lot's happened. Feels like it's been a bit of a shift as well. Mirrorless very much becoming a focus, oh, pun intended, but mirrorless in general continuing to just dominate things. I think it's fair to say there's a lot of really good cameras on the market now, and I'm excited to see what 2019 brings as well. So there's only really one thing left to say, and I've said it a few times this year, but as always, thanks for watching. Oh, and also this time, Happy New Year, unless you're watching this in like February or something, 2019, in which case I hope you had a good New Year, but it's a bit late to say Happy New Year, but thanks for watching.